I would like to go to our next speaker, and I have the pleasure to welcome Eugeni Nikolaev here, one of our colleagues working in Russia as a also developer of a wind farm, and he's a board member of the WWEA representing Russia and making sure that the Russian developments are also part of the discussions at the World Wind Energy Association. And now we look forward to hearing from you about latest developments in Russia. Eugeni.
Yes, Stefan, thank you very much. Let me greet the members of today's webinar. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak about our Russian development. I would say, as a whole, Russia is an energy system which really based on mainly fossil fuels energy sources. We have a bit of hydropower, and it's been we've been speaking about renewable energy like small hydro, wind, and solar for long. Totaling of our capacity of energy system is 220 gigawatts of installed capacity so far. And at one point, there was defined that there should be a fraction devoted to renewable energy. And that fraction is clearly, as a target was by 2024, to reach around 8 gigawatts of installed capacity of renewable energy in total, out of which biggest is the wind, is around 5 gigawatt of installed capacity in total on a marketplace called wholesale market. There are two types of markets in Russia because country is pretty big. So one part is the wholesale, and the rest is unregulated area where there's off-grid solutions, which is mainly in Siberia, and below more in the Asian part, where 1/10, 1/15 of the whole population is living. So I would say there was a lot of optimism while tenders were arranged and the quotas for wind energy were outsold. I mean, during the period pre-COVID, pre-pandemic. In that respect, pandemic didn't affect the auction process itself, but the issue with our national economy that it's really linked towards I mean, our national currency, obviously. So that the pandemic really created a mess out of the economy due to slowing down of the economy. I think it's the biggest hit since 1990s. The government at the moment tries to cope with this, and obviously because it's a free economy, I mean, not regulated economy, let's call it like that, not only free, but so it happens so that we had significant fall of ruble, of national currency, in regard to the dollar and euro. We think we are now at the how to call this one, the national record, obviously, and just on the prices of euro and dollar. And due to the fact that wind energy is mainly linked still, even if we have production locally now, I mean, mostly that sort of production is OEM type operations. So we have an issue of still dependence on pricing of in euro and dollar, and the tenders which were held were linked towards 60 to 70 rubles per dollar, in that range, and now we are speaking about 80 to 90. rubles per year at the moment, and kind of going up and down every day. Having said that, it probably will really affect the future development of energy portfolio in renewables due to the fact that it's our projects are pretty long term. I mean, 5 to 7 or 15 years, depending on how and where the energy projects are held. So in that respect, we probably will see some correction in that respect. But also, it happens so that the current development of the economy and the reduction in consumption by major consumers of our natural resources showed that they would need to balance the producers of carbon-based fossil fuels like gas and oil to be sold more locally, more in Russia. So we see now rising prices for those sort of products, and at one point we think that in some areas it's already happened, so that that might become as a provider of renewable energies solutions like wind and solar. It might become economic in certain areas on a wholesale market already. So this might be really a great opportunity for renewable energies and wind energy in particular, because our tenders, which have been taken earlier, a few years back, showed that due to the rise and of competition, the tenders were won by wind energy projects as the most, I'd say, the most affordable way of developing wind energy, the energy infrastructure in the country already. So this can be shown as a positive sign. Obviously, we will now have difficult times in planning and in constructing the new projects. The projects which have been up to now developed and were signed in, we probably this year will see the record for Russia. We are speaking about around 400 megawatts of new installed capacity this year put online, which will bring probably my country to this situation where it would be around 750 to 800 megawatt of installed capacity in total for Russia. It's pretty big leap forward. Obviously, in comparisons to some other areas, it's not yet even early start. Yeah. Why I think the situation is pretty difficult at the moment, will be the and shows an opportunity. We as a country still need to set a target for and aim a bit higher than what we have aimed so far in regards to renewables because of the climate crisis. I clearly see as a person that more and more people became aware about this particular situation in my country due to melting of permafrost and exposure of industrial crises over diminishing infrastructure and also wildfires in Siberia. And in that respect, my country definitely need to look in more detail how to reduce the impact of using fossil fuels in the future. So on the one hand, it's already been shown that by tenders and in international practices that wind energy and solar energy, wind energy in particular, is the most inexpensive way of creating new capacities in energy. And the second part is obviously the that On the other hand, it's now hit by pandemic and probably new sanctions and old sanctions, really weak economy at the point. So this we will have to balance out somehow. I also see that that the opportunity for the smaller developers like myself is developing a local community wind farms and probably the combining this co-generated gas-powered and wind energy as being the most efficient and balancing out wind energy farms to provide steady supply towards the end users in the local area, and to create a kind of a local distributed generation for wind energy and solar energy maybe, and also combine this gas. That would allow to be almost competitive in most of the part of the countries, but in some areas being very interesting opportunity towards making it very economic, not only at the point but also in the long term, due to the fact that I clearly see that the capacities which were sold formerly to consumers abroad now will be pushed towards the country, and price increase in natural resources also, and like gas and coal and oil probably will balance out, because in the local market, due to the fact that currently it's been subsidized heavily, but for businesses it's already freed. So this will have a big impact on creating a new demand for accessible and affordable energy sources, which energy of wind and solar plus combined gas can provide. Thank you very much. I'm open for the questions.
Eugeni, that's a great, excellent to hear from you how you see the general situation of the Russian energy market. And of course, we all know that Russia is one of the big players on the fossil energy market, and you made reference to that as well. And also, we all are aware that, of course, there are some implications, and with the climate change and the need to tackle climate change, of course, how much Russia should be prepared to change. Hearing from you that first things are done, but a lot more has to be done. Let me mention, of course, we did a study 4 years ago with your help, or 3 years ago, with your help, analyzing what are the barriers for the wind power market. And I think this is a moment where we can also mention that we are now planning a follow-up research, which we again will do with the German Friedrich Ebert Foundation, where we will focus on what you've mentioned as an important segment of Russia, more the decentralized community-based approaches, and see how self-consumption, local supply can be supported in the Russian wind market. And of course, when we think of the geographic conditions where you have many remote places, you would think that it makes a lot of sense. So thank you, Eugeni, a lot. Just very briefly, as a final kind of answer from your or statement from your side, COVID-19, we know Russia is also heavily affected by it. Does it have any delaying or impact on the wind farm development that's taking place now?
Yeah, absolutely. I think what happened with my country is that we kind of been pretty reluctant to understand that the size of this issue in the beginning, and even though we had a lag time, but at the end, when a lot of construction sites and the whole country stopped for a few months, it still obviously affected and had a huge impact on construction building sites for the wind energy or any other construction sites. And I could clearly see that it also will really affect hardly on the economy on a later stage, and not only at this point of time, but we will still see the implications forward down.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that seems to be the case now. Everywhere we hear there is an impact. A little bit different in different parts, but yeah. Thank you again, Evgeny.